hours ago, a brief statement from Jungkook shook the public space of K-pop fans. How could an idol known as the Golden Magne, with a worldwide reputation, suddenly bind himself in a dramatic promise to become Jimin's secret weapon? That question immediately arose, sparking speculation and igniting a curiosity that was hard to suppress. Was this merely an emotional metaphorical expression, or was there a bigger strategy behind this surprisingly sounding statement? The statement did not appear in a political forum, nor in a major speech, but rather in an interaction that seemed simple yet full of meaning. Jungkook, with a serious tone, stated that he was ready to become a secret weapon to support Jimin. This fact was immediately translated by the public as a symbol of commitment far beyond mere friendship on the entertainment stage. What exactly did Jungkook mean by that term, and why is this moment referred to as one of the most shocking in the last 2 hours? Fans who understand their dynamics certainly realize that Jungkook and Jimin's relationship is not merely that of coworkers. Both shared a long journey since the beginning of their careers, faced the same difficulties, and grew together in a harsh industry system. However, the word secret weapon carries a different weight. It creates an image of strategy, hidden support, as well as a power ready to explode at the right time. In the academic lens of communication, such a statement cannot be separated from layered symbolism. There is a meaning of loyalty. There is also a rhetorical meaning that builds an image. Why does this feel so surprising? Because amid Jungkook's image, often described as an independent individual with a global aura, he instead emphasized his willingness to place himself in a supportive position for Jimin. This fact is not only emotionally stirring, but also shifts public perception. Jungkook, with all his popularity and influence, is willing to make himself a tool that strengthens his friend. It is not an exaggeration if the public calls this moment one of the most dramatic confessions ever to emerge from a star of Jungkook's caliber. The public response was quick. Social media within minutes was filled with questions. What does secret weapon mean? Does this refer to a music collaboration project, a major stage performance, or even a personal strategy in facing the competition of the entertainment industry? Speculation ran wild, but one thing was clear. Jungkook's promise had reignited a long discussion about the meaning of solidarity in a big group that is often viewed only from the lens of stage professionalism. For Jimin himself, his position as an individual who often radiates warmth and humility certainly found deep meaning in this statement. If Jungkook calls himself a secret weapon, then the implication is an acknowledgement that Jimin deserves full support. In the Korean entertainment world full of pressure, such a promise is not only a personal statement, but also a signal about the wholeness of bonds behind the scenes. This strengthens the thesis that personal loyalty can play a role as important as professional strategy. It cannot be denied. The term secret weapon carries a strong emotional resonance. In popular culture literature, this term is often associated with something hidden, kept, then released at the most decisive moment. In other words, Jungkook seemed to affirm that he was ready to appear as a force that is not always visible, but capable of being a determining factor when Jimin needs it. Such interpretation made the public even more captivated because the promise sounded like a strategy prepared with earnestness. However, behind the public dramatization, there is an academic side worth paying attention to. In celebrity sociology studies, Jungkook's statement can be read as a form of performativity, a speech act that not only conveys words, but also shapes a new social reality. By announcing that promise, Jungkook was not merely speaking, he was creating expectations, nurturing narratives, and strengthening the collective identity shared with Jimin. For fans, this narrative became part of the emotional experience that tightened their connection with their idol. The next question then, to what extent will this promise be realized? Will the secret weapon appear in the form of a revolutionary musical work, a surprising performance on the world stage, or instead in personal support only understood by their close circle? This speculation is what keeps the public waiting, because the promise has not yet given a definite direction, but instead opens a wide space of interpretation that adds to the dramatization point. 2 hours may sound short, but in the world of social media, it is enough to create a big wave. The shocking fact about Jungkook's promise has become a global topic of conversation, showing how a simple sentence can shake the perception of millions of people. More than just a headline, this statement has affirmed that personal relationships, loyalty, and celebrity communication strategies are capable of producing historic moments remembered far beyond the duration of mere hours. And now, the world can only wait. When will that secret weapon truly be unleashed? And how will Jimin utilize the strength promised by his friend? One thing is certain, the shocking fact revealed 2 hours ago is not an ordinary event. It is a symbol, a strategy, and a drama that in itself changes the way the public views the dynamics of friendship behind the glamorous stage lights. What makes this fact even more interesting is the context of its timing. The last 2 hours are not merely a chronological count, but a strategic momentum. Amid the storm of global music issues, solo project rumors, and news about the group's future direction, Jungkook's statement seemed to appear as an emotional turning point. He did not choose a big stage or an official press conference, but a relaxed situation that instead gave a more authentic impact. As if he wanted to show that the strongest promises sometimes are born from the simplest spaces. In the entertainment world, words are often considered merely gimmicks to attract public attention. However, unlike many empty statements that are quickly forgotten, Jungkook's sentence instead built new layers of narrative. He seemed to place Jimin not only as a stage partner, but as a figure worthy of being protected with hidden strength. From the perspective of communication psychology, this shows the existence of a deep dimension of trust, because not everyone would be willing to define themselves as a secret weapon for someone else. The public reaction also showed interesting dynamics. For some fans, the promise was seen as proof of sincere friendship that revealed Jungkook's human side. However, for critical circles, the statement was seen as a smart narrative strategy, building a dramatic story that strengthens the emotional bond with fans. These two perspectives cannot be separated because both actually complement the meaning of this shocking fact. On one side there is emotional depth, on the other there is an effective communication strategy. The next big question is how Jimin will respond. Until now, he has not given a direct comment regarding Jungkook's promise. It is precisely the absence of that response that adds dramatic tension. In public communication, silence is often stronger than words. Is Jimin preparing a surprise reply? Will he affirm that he truly needs that secret weapon? The public can only wait, while this narrative continues to spin in the global discussion space.